Welcome to the 235th episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined by Chronicle executive editor Eric Schwartz, and we're joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding, Chehalis Outfitters, and The Roof Doctor. We have a guest coming up shortly. Do we want to spoil it?
No, let's not spoil it. We'll just get right to it. We'll say it's family, Chronicle family.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah.
Do you have any preambles you want to get to? I have one.
Okay, what do you got?
I watched the film A Complete Unknown last night.
Oh, good. Do you have takes on it?
And you know what? I'll tell you this much. Everybody heard from me about it. I was texting. I had thoughts.
Were you doing the thing where you're just sending out messages trying to get someone to engage with you?
A little bit, yeah.
Trying to find who it was. We have a friend that does that from time to time.
Uh-huh, yeah,
Just
certainly.
Throwing the conversational bait out there, seeing who takes it.
Yeah, but yeah, I watched it. I didn't hate the movie, but I spent the whole time as I messaged you thinking, God, I wish I was watching Walk Hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's really not a time where I'm not wishing I'm watching Walk Hard.
Yeah.
Right now, I wish instead of podcasting, I was at home watching Andor. If we're really going to just treat the preambles
that
as
dropped today, didn't we?
As our own arch reviews.
This is the last chapter of Andor.
5 stars.
It's a very good show.
It's very good.
Fantastic stuff. Can you believe what Bix did
I can't,
to our boy?
I can't, but I can.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody
surprise.
cares to listen to us talk about Andor. But if you haven't seen it, you want to watch it, and then send me a message about it. We can have a little conversation, talk about it.
If everybody's hearing from you about Andor, make sure we are those people as well.
Yeah, it's just something that I feel like I would like to talk about.
I'm sure there's not a single other podcast out there talking about the Disney Plus program based on Star Wars.
They're going to get a big
Andor
boost out of this from the dump. I'll tell you that much.
But yeah, any other preambles before we jump into
let's just
the
get
news?
into it. Let's get
All
into
right,
it.
I think this episode's going to go a little long. Dozens of candidates seeking public office after filing week in Lewis County. 29 races open. Maybe these are just the contested races. Let's see. Among them, Winlock Mayor Brandon Svensson will try to fend off challengers Jody Curtis, Victoria Marinson, and America Lunsford, who have all registered to run against him in the August primary. Svensson's just holding his breath for that. Quote, women can no longer run for office. Executive order surely coming soon.
That is the hottest race, though, if you're looking at the number of candidates. So the top 2 of those 2 in August. Not that anybody needs to be reminded, but we'll move on to the November general election.
In Centralia, the District 2 seat has 3 applicants. They're all newcomers: Ray Chapman-Wilson, Leah Sizemore, and Chuck Keifer. I think Ray Chapman-Wilson has showed up in the comments section, and you know what? I liked his takes.
He's a letter to the editor writer as well from time to time, and a frequent public speaker, I'm told.
Yeah, Tara Haskins and Kevin Curtis are facing off for the District 3 seat. I don't think I'm familiar with either of them, but best of luck to somebody. And then current District 1 Councilor Norm Chapman will defend his District 1 seat against challenger Lisa Stridinger. So, over in Chehalis, Kate McDougall is facing Elijah White.
We have to
Ever heard of him?
Chronicle employee. I believe his office is right beneath this podcast studio.
Yes. Kevin Carnes is facing off with Jack Allen Snodgrass for at-large position 2. And Bob Spar is running against Jesse Carver for at-large position 3. Is Bob Spar still in office? I feel like he's been in there forever.
He was in for a long time, left for a bit, came back, if my memory serves me.
Okay. Among the 140 candidates registered to run for political office in the county, 51 are running for school boards, 42 are running to become a counselor or mayor, 25 are registered to run for a position with their local fire district, and 10 are running for spots on a local cemetery board. Any surprises for you?
I see your note here. There is a special filing week that opens up next week for races that didn't have any candidates, and that Chehalis School District board race that you're referring to, I believe, is listed as District 4. When it was available on filing week, it's supposed to be an at-large position. If you can recall, Chehalis the citizens voted to make that at-large rather than specific to an area. But at least one candidate wasn't able to register, so it is going to open up again next week, along with anything that does not have a candidate.
Yeah. The one surprise for me was I was a little miffed that the 3 Chehalis school board positions are all unopposed after all the uproar from the recent superintendent salary
Yeah, you would have thought there'd be more, but
kerfuffle.
I do think that overall people are pretty happy in the Chehalis School District with how their schools are serving their students.
Yeah,
That's
I
been
agree.
what I hear anyways,
Yeah.
fairly consistently. But yeah, this is the one that's like I'm not gonna lie, for the newsroom, it's not as fun to cover as the even year elections. We'll have county commissioners, state lawmakers, Congress, but this is the one that probably would have more effect on your life, both as a candidate and as a resident, in terms of like
Or
actual
like as
changes
a
you might
parent
see.
of a school-age child, things like that.
Right, or if you want to get something changed, you want to address something in your school or in your city, these are the elections to have an eye on. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. I wish that all the school board, city council races were contested. I just think it serves everyone better. You have to do a little bit of research to find out who these people are. When it's just one name, you're either going to vote for me or not, but that person's going to be your elected official.
Yeah, and it makes the people running, even if they're an incumbent, work a little harder to get out and like kind of justify their position.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next item. Centralia third grader wins annual state poison control poster competition.
This is the big one.
I was shocked they still do this. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I just hadn't heard of it for a while.
You think they're going to snuff out Mr. Yuck like that?
The Washington Poison Control Center has a poster contest for National Poison Week. I guess it's National Poison Awareness Week. We called that spring break back when I was in college. Centralia's Aubrey Huber won this week's competition for grades 3 through 5. She had a poster with witches that said, "Leave the mixing to the pros," which was also our motto when we hosted parties back in college. Her class got a party, and Mr. Yuck was there. Holy shit. Couldn't believe it. Mr. Yuck had to leave early, though. He took a phone call during the party, and it went, "Mr. Yuck, this is Bobby Kennedy. We need you in D.C. Bring all your stickers. We're going to put them on pasteurized milk, vaccines, and any heroin that's been stepped on too many times."
That's why your voice is raspy. You were practicing that, weren't you?
I was trying it a little bit. But yeah,
it's your
Mr.
RFK Jr. I like that. You should sing Kayak Man in RFK
I
Jr.
could not. Kayak man, that river's poisonous, but dive on in.
He would. No, I love this story. Just a fun little district, Centralia School District story. The winner you already mentioned, I believe, but was Aubrey Huber.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you she was very popular in that class. Got to have a pizza party, a break from class.
Mr. Yuck showed up.
Mr. Yuck himself, who, for those who can't see a picture of him right now, he's like would you say that's green or yellow? Look like an emoji.
It's
It looks like a very disgusted emoji.
It's like a tennis ball shade.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, thereabouts.
But yeah, he's just got a big round head with like a yuck frowny face on it. And he slaps stickers on everything with like his face. That's like, "Don't drink this."
Yeah, we sent our intern, Tyrus VanTuyl, you might know him,
I've heard of him.
to this. And when he came back, we were having our news meeting, and he dramatically revealed with removing his hoodie that he was wearing a Mr. Yuck T-shirt underneath that.
He was
after his
very
visit.
happy Mr. Yuck gave him a T-shirt.
That's
he was
a
wearing
great
it all day.
T-shirt. Like that's
Yeah.
I feel like it has some resale value. That's a nice thing.
That's gonna age like Dare T-shirts, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think in this case it already has, but it hasn't been like decommissioned, so it's
Yeah.
even cooler. Still in circulation. I'd love to get my hands on a Mr. Yuck shirt.
I might know where to get one. Steal it. All right, shall we get on to the big item? I fear.
Sure, yeah. We do have an update on this too, but I'll save that. And I'm gonna let you go, not interrupt you with my.
I don't have anything too spicy in
Okay.
this section.
Okay, fair enough.
Chehalis residents challenged church's safe parking pilot program. The subhead, "Not in my backyard." How satisfying was it to actually type that onto the front page?
You'd have to ask. On the front page, it was kind of satisfying because that is kind of what this is. But it literally is for the one resident who shouted that.
Yeah.
In response to one of the organizers answering a question.
So St. Timothy Episcopal Church is one of 5 churches to allow unhoused people to sleep in cars in parking lot through the Hope Housing Collaborative. They had a informational meeting Wednesday night at the church, which is in Chehalis, and that's the one that's kind of down by WF West, right?
Correct.
Okay. Regarding the program, it started with a prayer and ended with numerous attendees storming out in disgust, just as Jesus would have liked. The program will provide safe parking for homeless community members living in their vehicles starting in July. People were upset that there's a school nearby and no one gave them a heads up.
Several schools nearby, but yeah.
Although it seems like with this meeting they all attended, maybe they did have a heads up. In fact,
I believe they got a flyer from the church. And we also wrote a brief item about it because the church did send it to us. And that was the only thing published about it. I want to say it was like 3 or 4 graphs. But that did get people very interested in the topic. And yeah, like I said, I think every neighbor was told this was happening.
Yeah, the program will allow people living in their cars to park overnight for 1 or 2 weeks every 2 months. There's a 10-car limit. They'll have background checks and garbage bins. They're hoping to get about 8 churches in on this. They're going to reevaluate it after a couple months. Kay Flores, a reverend at the church, gave a speech and shared testimonies from school counselors, therapists, and members of the Salvation Army. She told everybody she didn't think it would work at first, but a presentation swayed her. She then took it to the church leaders. Is it the elders, the board?
I don't know. I mean,
something.
different churches have different things.
Right.
Deacons, elders. Yeah, it could be.
They agreed with her. One neighbor had a concern. They said, quote, as someone who literally will be affected because of our proximity, how are you guaranteeing that there is no trash that's on our property and that there's no kids that are wandering across the fence? The resident asked. That's a big risk that you're taking with my property. I'm going to guess you don't care. One person said that while many people in the crowd are Christians and have a heart for the women and families living in their cars, the proximity is too close to ignore. Not in my backyard, he said. I might reevaluate. You're a Christian if you're going to shout that at a meeting at a church about helping the homeless.
Faith over stuff like that now.
I can't imagine saying that with a straight face. John P. Hypocrite gets a thumbs up from me. These people are right. As we discussed last week on this very podcast, churches are not meant to help women and children living in their car, perhaps fleeing an abusive situation. Churches are meant to be a place where the abusers in those situations can confess to doing filthy, horrific things without it being reported to the authorities. God, when will people understand? I can't imagine walking through the doors of a church to complain about them doing the one thing churches should be doing, especially in Lewis County, where our elected officials have been brutally outspoken about their hatred for anyone who dares try to help the unhoused. That's the end of my rant.
You said you weren't going to have any takes there.
My takes are going to be spicier.
I understand where you're coming from. I don't want to denigrate or devalue the opinion of an entire neighborhood, and it seems like they are very united in not wanting this there. I think the uncertainty is clouding it a bit. I'm sure a lot of people have heard different messages about it. I've shared last week that I think that the program is absolutely necessary based upon what I've seen in just this one parking lot behind the Chronicle where we have had children and women sleeping. It is a thing that's happening, and this would be a positive development for them. The entire community surrounding the area thinks it would be a negative for them. I shared that if it was in my neighborhood, I might not be on board with it, just being honest in that regard, but I do hope they find a way to do the program. It doesn't sound like there's any obstacles actually stopping them. It is their property, and the state law does allow for it, or appears to.
Yeah, I guess that's, you know what, I'll get to that in our next discussion on
this.
I
don't mean to be wishy-washy. I personally would like to see the program go forward. But calling somebody John P. Hypocrite because they're worried about their family is just not a bar I can get to.
I mean, you can be worried about your family, but saying you're worried about your family because a woman with no place to go is sleeping in her car in a church parking lot near your home.
No, I agree with you.
The height of you're not worried about your family. You're worried about looking out the window and seeing something uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot about all of it. It says a lot about
me. Which is
me
how my
that
neighbors
I'm saying
feel.
That I won't. Yeah, exactly. That I wouldn't necessarily like this, and then you think about it. Why? Why wouldn't Eric like this? Is he scared of homeless women and children? And that's essentially what we're saying here as well. I think a lot of it's the uncertainty, how it kind of just was announced that it was happening and then reinforced that it was happening, and that seemed to be a big part of the message at the meeting. I think they felt as though they weren't being given a voice. But there's additional reporting on it up at chronline.com now. The Chehalis City Council discussed it at the end of their regular meeting last night. Aaron, I imagine the coverage would anger you and many others, perhaps, that support this project. The headline, Chehalis City Councilors residents speak about housing collaborative parking pilot program. I think the most vocal was Mayor Tony Ketchum. His quote about the meeting was, he said it was one of the worst public meetings he's ever had to attend. And, quote, it just set the tone of the arrogance and condescending note that the church gave out to the people that were here to listen but weren't but they weren't here to listen. They were only there to make sure that they were in agreement with the RCW that said they had to do a public meeting. They cared none about what anybody had to say. They were going to do what they wanted. Kevin Carnes, the city councilor, also was critical of the program. Councilor Jody Keys, who represents the district it's in, was a little more reserved, but said it was quite a turnout. I think it just goes to show what a unique neighborhood we have. I love the neighborhood. It's safe. It's always been safe, and we'd like to keep it that way. And there's some other residents that spoke as well and other counselors. But if you want to read that whole thing, go get yourself an update. And we'll have an update to this story in tomorrow's edition on when the next meeting is. I think it's geared towards residents because it was announced via a flyer that was dropped on household doors. So I don't know that they're expecting or wanting a large turnout of people that aren't directly impacted, but we'll see.
I will reserve the rest of my takes for the next section. Any other news items you want to hit before we take an ad break?
That's my only news items you got. We had breaking news today. The suspect who sparked a manhunt when he fired 15-some shots from, I'm going to use the term assault rifle. People hate that term. But
so all the gun nuts listening are just furious at you right now.
It's inaccurate to some. They caught him on the Nevada-California border, so he's been arrested. Sheriff Sanders posted photos of him as he was being detained, maybe heading to Mexico. I don't know. So he's been arrested. I'm sure we'll have follow-up reporting on that. There's also bail set at $5 million for the guy. You'll maybe remember last week there was a shootout in Centralia at a home off of Harrison Avenue.
I don't remember that.
There was. Tyson Ball, 35, who was the suspected aggressor who entered the home, was shot. And the Thurston County Sheriff's Office sent out a news release just noting bail has been set at $5 million. We'll have a more detailed report on that this afternoon.
That name sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
He's a frequent flyer in Sirens. I found his name in Sirens quite a few times, and then some of our records. It just has popped up several times over the years. But for the rest of it, which there is ample news here, including news about your friend Wayne Fournier.
I was just looking at that. Should elected officials in Washington have a second job? Yes. My take is yes.
You're fine with it?
I am, because otherwise you're going to get, I don't know. Like, otherwise you're if you don't, you're putting yourself in the position to raise the pay to much higher for like state representatives.
Yeah, and they are getting a pay boost. They talk about this in the story. They're going from, I want to say, upper 50s to lower 70s soon. But yeah, we talked about this before. The only my thing is, if it should be something about your performance that brings up the criticism if it's not disallowed. So it's not, you're not barred from having another job. In the case of Commissioner Wayne Fournier, he's a firefighter in Grays Harbor, has been forever. And has also been an elected official, first in Tenino and more recently as the Thurston County Commissioner. Never heard anyone complain that he wasn't attending meetings, that he's not there.
Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think it should be that. The only thing that sparked this story is we had a public speaker who is on the record as, I'll just say, hating the county. John Pettit, he was the one who brought this up. We wrote a story about his speaking and then decided to do just a deeper dive on the topic. So there's another public official who's had a couple jobs in here, some others mentioned, and I think Jacob Farmer did a great job. It's a good story.
Yeah, okay. Anything
We'll do
else?
a rundown at the end. That's fine.
All right, let's kick it to break.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met Jasic of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back. We're going to go to our interview here real quick, but we wanted to tee that up a little bit. Who is our interview with, Schwartz?
I mentioned Chronicle Family. It's actually family of Chronicle Family. Ruby Stanton, WFOS student. You might recognize her for some Evergreen Playhouse performances, but today she's going to be with us in her role as a youth advocate for the Relay for Life for Lewis County. She's going to tell us all about the event that comes up this Saturday. Daughter of Karina Stanton, who I would call a Chronicle great. Put her in the Hall of Fame. She's an award-winning Chronicle reporter. She was here for years and years. She was here as a reporter. She was here as a freelancer, and she was just fantastic. But today we are just going to hear from Ruby about everything that is happening at Relay for Life.
All right, we're back. And now we've got our guest joining us. We have Ruby Stanton, a junior at WF West High School. Ruby, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good, although, as I discussed off mic, my voice is getting a little hoarse. Hopefully, everybody listening by the time we get to this part will know why. But you have some announcements, some knowledge to impart to us about Relay for Life, which is coming up Saturday.
I do. Relay for Life of Lewis County is coming to your fairground. It is this Saturday, May 17th, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and it's a totally free event open to the public. There's going to be live music, food, dancing, silent auction, a baking auction, so much more.
What do you want to start with well, first of all, what does Relay for Life support for anybody who is not familiar with the whole thing?
Relay for Life supports the American Cancer Society. So all of the profits from our Relay for Life event and all of the other Relay for Life events in the country, all of the profits go to the American Cancer Society for cancer research, for support for the patients, and so much more.
Okay.
You mentioned the music as well, and we were talking about before we started, but Bonzo Bomb, and you're going to want to be there for this one. Chris Gunther will be performing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Bonzo Ball, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Chris Gunther is, I don't have his time on here. Oh, there it is. Headlining 7:30 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. And then I'm told at 9 p.m., Aaron VanTuyl is going to sing Kayak Man, his own original News Dump produced
a 2.5-minute concert. I will get up there if I can remember the lyrics and knock out Kayak Man. I think you're mispronouncing. It's Bonzo Balm.
There we go. What did I say?
You just said Bonzo Ball.
I said
Balm.
The M silent.
We have a clip of some Bonzo Balm. I'd like to play it. Let me see if this plays right.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, you good with that?
Oh, man. I feel like a brooding teenager in the 90s.
Yeah.
Upset about the first Gulf War.
I'm so mad. I like it. I like their vibe. They look cool.
Oh, that's great. Again, they will be playing 1:30 to 3:30. And actually at 9, Aaron is not performing. It's the Luminaria. Can you tell us what that is?
So the Luminaria is an event where people are able to buy these bags that they get to decorate however they want to, in memory of anyone, in memory of whatever they'd want to put. Whatever you want to put on it, you can. And we put lights in them and put them around the track. And it's just this really pretty event at the end of our event. Like, it's a moment of silence for everything that has gone on. Like, we're together and we're here and we're fighting cancer.
And I imagine that a lot of the Luminaria are for individuals they know that have struggled with cancer, who have died of cancer, that kind of thing. Yes. So I could see how that would get emotional. It's also like the most visually poignant pictures that we get out of that every year when we go.
Yeah,
very,
it's
very
really
colorful.
Pretty.
Is there fireworks as well? I know that's been in past years.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
We have really, really cool firework displays that every year they're really, really awesome.
And that's like the only fireworks display you're going to get at the fairgrounds this year. Mm-hmm. For those who are wondering, they're not going to have it for 4th of July this year. So
yeah, they
awesome.
Banned fireworks for 4th of July.
You
got rid of them.
You mentioned an individual that kind of helped motivate you to get involved in this. Can you tell me about him?
Yeah. So a very close family friend of mine, Keith Blackwell, fought cancer for a really long time, and he ended up passing away from it. But he was a really big part of my life, and I even called him Uncle Keith for the longest time. And he meant a lot to me and introduced me to music and introduced me to the violin, which I am still playing and went to state for it this year. So being able to fight cancer for him means the world to me.
And Keith Blackwell was the head of the Lewis County Literacy Council for a long time,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, among a lot of other things. I met him during the cleanup from the 2007 flood. He came forward to volunteer and spent a lot of time with him. And I shared with you just a wonderful individual, so just a great way of highlighting how if you are someone who has experienced cancer, is experiencing cancer, or knows someone who does, or has, which pretty much encompasses everyone, there's a good reason for you to come out to this event.
What do we have as far as auction items? What's that looking like? Is there any cool stuff in there?
Well, I don't know yet. Personally, I am in charge of the silent auction, and we do not get all of our items until the day of the event.
Okay.
So they all start to just kind of trickle in, and we get them, we get a bid sheet out, and see what happens. Last year, we had so many things. We had 4 grills, we had so many baskets, we had these beautiful wooden benches and a workbench. I think we had a TV. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff.
Should we throw like a free, some kind of podcast thing on there?
Oh, yeah.
You can, one free ticket to sit in on the News Dump podcast. What do you think that would go for?
It'd be a negative. It'd be a cost.
Yeah, we would be paying for our own seat there. All right, anything else we should know about Relay for Life coming up Saturday?
Well, for you Bearcat fans out there, WF West has its own Relay for Life team.
Oh,
we
cool.
are Bearcats for a Cure, and we're the gold team this year instead of just the normal purple. We're gold team, and the gold team is fighting childhood cancer because we have some kids at the high school and at other schools that are fighting cancer right now. And since we're more of the youth of the group, Patty Ali thought that it was the best idea to have us, the teenagers of the whole group, be the gold team, and we are honored to be it.
That's awesome.
How many kids are on the gold team?
Including me, we have 9 kids. It's a smaller group, but that's 9 kids that will be at the event. The whole team itself, we have about 16 kids.
Okay, very cool.
We got a list on here of top participants I was looking for. Are these team? Oh, no, we got top teams and top participants. We got a few names on here. Julie Pendleton has raised $3,456, your number 1 fundraiser so far, followed by Patty Ali, who you mentioned. A lot of names I recognize on here, Aaron, but I'm not recognizing your name here.
No, I don't
Why do you
believe I
side
am.
with cancer?
Yes, people are always saying.
Man, maybe next year we should get involved in this. So there's top teams as well. Maybe next year we could do a News Dump team. I see Dick's Brewing Company on there, Kraken Board Shop, Manual Lutheran Church, Harrison Square. News Dump
We
would
should
fit
get a
right
team.
in there.
I know you've been going on your walks. You're ready for this.
Yeah, I'm quite ready. It's only
really
a mile, right?
Yes. Yep. It's
Just all the laps you can in like a 12-hour period.
So a mile.
Yeah.
Is there like
sure.
who does the most laps? Is there like, do they keep track of it? What's
Not really. The more like hardcore events, they keep track of it. Like in Tacoma, they have those little clickers. Like some people are really into like, I have to get this many laps in. But at our event, it's more like we'd rather have one person from each team on the track at all times than like count how many laps you can do. Because some people,
Well, that's a better strategy.
yeah, some people can't really do as many laps, which is totally okay.
yeah? Okay.
It's not too late to donate either. Probably the simplest way is just to Google Lewis County Relay for Life. That's what I just did, and it takes you right to the page. You can donate to a team. You can just donate to Relay for Life. Any other ways that people can help out with this thing besides just attending?
Yeah.
Opening up their wallets and pocketbooks? Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it mentioned this is in a different area of the fairgrounds. Where is it this year?
So this year it will be by the main entrance of the fair. So it'll be like where the 4-H building is, and usually right where when you walk in, there's, I can't remember if it's the grandstand stage or the saloon stage. I think it's the.
That's all kind of the general same area.
Yeah.
That entrance area.
It's the area that if you park across the street, like straight across the street by the bank.
Right by the crosswalk there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's in the like technically the main entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also suppose that if you're going to this, like you'll see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to have signs up and maybe balloons and.
You wouldn't want to waste all your good steps before you get to the relay.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Schwartz, do you have anything else?
No, I did. We didn't mention the fundraising goal, $50,000.
Yeah, $50,000.
And you've raised, you being collectively Relay for Life, has raised $33,000 as of our write-up on it on Monday. I'm sure it's a little higher now. Do you think they're going to be able to bridge that gap on
Yes.
Saturday? Okay.
We still have a lot of people that some people do it a different way with donating. In the way that my team does it is that as soon as we have our fundraising event, we cash in what we made. But there are some teams that add up over time.
Okay.
And then turn it in closer to the event or after the event.
Okay. You also raised money through a bake sale, $400 and 2 lunches. Is that school lunches at WFS?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. I didn't really know how it was gonna go. I was a little scared that I'd be sitting at a table alone in the commons
Sure,
and have
that's always
people
the
be
fear.
like, "Oh, what is she doing?" But we had a lot of help with students and staff members made a bunch of baked goods, and we sold them by donation, and we made more than $400, and it was awesome.
Excellent.
All right, cool. Ruby, anything else you want to add about Relay for Life coming up this Saturday at the fairgrounds?
I'd just say
This
It's
is
a-
where you shout the slogan, because we didn't do 40 years of derailing cancer.
Yes.
That's what you were going to say.
oh my gosh,
Yep.
thank you.
Nailed it.
So this is the 40th
you,
year
Eric.
of Relay for Life? Is
Yes,
that right?
this
Okay.
is the 40th year of Relay for Life.
So there's going to
That's-
be a train theme, Aaron.
It
You love
is.
trains.
It's 40 years of derailing cancer. It's a train theme, and this is also why we have a gold team, because it's the 40th year of Relay for Life, and Relay for Life, fun fact, was started in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Interesting.
Yeah. My mom was part of one of the first relay teams. So it was a big deal for her to have me start doing relay because it was such a big impact on her life.
Okay.
Ruby, I thank you for offering. You asked to come on here, and I appreciate that. And just really impressed with you. How old are you? You said? I know you're a junior,
I'm 17.
but you're already making a very positive name for yourself in this community, and I think that's wonderful.
Thank you.
You're also in theater. That you can be found on the Evergreen Playhouse stage.
I am.
What's their next production?
Our next production is Into the Woods, written by Stephen Sondheim. It's a really big show. There's a movie with James Corden. But we're going to be doing it at the Evergreen Playhouse, and I'm going to be Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh, awesome. That's wonderful. Well, make sure you pick up tickets for that. I know we'll have a preview on it. I think we preview every Evergreen Playhouse show, so can't wait to read about it, maybe see it.
Yeah.
All right, Ruby, thank you so much.
Thank you,
we'll
guys.
get you out of here on that.
Awesome.
All right. It was great having Ruby on. We're back now. And, Schwartz, for a while, I've been lamenting the fact that your boy's lost a step.
My boy? Who's my boy?
And me. The notes have been subpar.
Hey,
Takes have just been a little
throwing
chillier.
heat today, though.
That's what we're getting into.
You're doing good. You still got a fastball. You're like Tony Danza in Angels in the Outfield. You'll probably be
was,
dead in like 6 months, but right now you're throwing heat. You're summoning it from the depths of your tired soul.
I say that as we get into Tales from the Takes page,
you're
the
gonna be
first
rough
of
on 'em
our
this week, huh?
segments. And first up, we've got John McCroskey. Folks, he's back. And he says, it's not hateful to not go along with someone's delusions. And he says that without a shred of irony. McCroskey goes all in on telling everybody else he doesn't have to go along with their pronouns.
I mean, he was talking about a very specific one in this case, right?
It's another column where McCroskey asks, hey, did you watch Newsmax 2 weeks ago? You didn't? Oh, good. This is going to blow your mind. There's no relevant local angle. He saw a tweet about an Oregon Health Advisory Board member who threw turtle in with their pronouns, and he wrote or, copy pasted 600 words about how this person he's never met is not a turtle, and he doesn't have to put up with their shit because he is a man with a mother and wanted to be a cowboy, but he didn't have a horse, so he became a sheriff and also an angry old man instead.
Oh, come on, man. You're not gonna like shake a tweet about a guy calling themselves turtle in relation to pronouns in front of McCroskey and not get a column on it.
Literally, no one is asking McCroskey to go along with anything. Like McCroskey probably told at least a few of the people he arrested, you have the right to remain silent. And sometimes maybe he should.
I don't have anything to say, but John McCroskey's column it's our number one read on chronline.com as of this afternoon. If you want to check it out and have your own take on it, write a letter to the editor. Letters at chronline.com, 500 words or less, or I send them back.
Okay, hold on a second here. Let me...
Ooh, a jump on the sound.
Let's go. Okay, hold on. Next column is a commentary from Sean Swope entitled "Safe Parking Shouldn't Come at Cost of Neighborhood Safety or Real Solutions."
Can I just say, you have written quite a bit here. I'm going to step back.
I was going to say, do you want me to just mute
takes
you?
From me, and I'll just listen to you just so I don't stomp on your bits.
We actually have a live clip of Swope writing this column, dictating it. Do you want me to play that? Here we go. Schwartz has gotten up and left the table, but let me start with the first line from this piece by Mr. Swope. It says, "I came into the meeting with an open mind and a compassionate heart because I truly care about the people impacted by homelessness, especially mothers and children living out of their vehicles." He also got everyone riled up about this before knowing anything about it. He lacks the ability to consider two ideas at once or change his mind about anything requiring compassion. For several years now, he has seen any attempt at addressing homelessness and just to do a little callback, slapped a Mr. Yuck sticker on it. Another line from Swope, "Let me be clear. My heart breaks for the women and children who are forced to sleep in cars. But my heart breaks more for the poor people that might have to see children sleeping in cars." He also claims the schools weren't actually involved because not every staffer at the school knows about it. It's something I'm sure the county would never let happen.
Will note, Superintendent, I said I wouldn't jump in, I will. Superintendent did email to say he was not aware, the district was not aware of this project until the meeting. Go on.
Okay, sure. He also writes, "If public money is part of the equation, the public deserves full transparency." This is a laughable statement from somebody who used his government credit card to buy booze and hotel rooms he didn't use. But go off. He also writes, "What happens if those rules are broken? What happens if drug paraphernalia is found? And what is the response plan if someone shows up without a background check?" Then it becomes literally any other parking lot. This is like hanging an out-of-order sign on an escalator. It's just stairs now. Jesus. He writes, "I will be working to ensure that any required background checks are conducted by local agencies, not just run through the Washington State Patrol system." He continues, "We're going to have my close personal friend and political ally Roger Morningstar handle these. He heard background checks and women living in cars, and he was practically salivating." Just kidding. He'll have, like, the sheriff do it, I guess. He's due back from Texas any month now.
Because Arizona.
I can't fathom writing, "We'll have the local cops run background checks, not those chumps at the State Patrol," as if that's a selling point. Sir, have you read the newspaper coverage of local law enforcement lately? There's a lot of good ones out there, but there's also been a lot of, less than ideal things going on at the sheriff's office in regard to doing homework and, not losing evidence. "It's also important to understand," he writes, "that under current state law, being a registered sex offender does not automatically disqualify someone from participating in a safe parking program. Under state law, being a registered sex offender also doesn't disqualify you from being a church leader or an elected official. Something to think about." Lewis County is filled with generous, compassionate people, he writes. He spent this whole column denigrating those people. What are we talking about? His takeaway is that the solution is to temporarily help people. His takeaway that the solution to temporarily help people that need it is trash because it's not permanent and local leaders need to work together. My brother in Christ, you are the local leader and you've done everything in your power for years to stop all of those things from happening. What are you talking about? End rant.
That wasn't a rant. It's your opinion. I view this as your commentary space the same way that we gave Swope the commentary space to run that opinion piece. So thank you for your commentary, Aaron.
You're welcome. Anything else on the opinion page you want to get to?
Minor fact checking, just housekeeping here. I don't think he bought hotel rooms. I think there was a drink and he reimbursed for it. But your point. remains.
I mean, look,
Just
I
trying
could
to
have
keep the facts in order here.
I could have done a Cronline search to find all the other times they've tried to hide things from public record at the county.
Yeah.
I feel like there's several examples that aren't coming directly to mind.
Sure. Sure.
And I also don't mean to denigrate local law enforcement by saying that, they referring to them as somehow being better at background checks than the Washington State Patrol is
No, you don't have to
hilarious
defend
to
your
me.
takes, man. Your takes are your takes. And I, like I said, I support this too. I do get a little frustrated that there does appear to be an immediate opposition to things like this in faith, when it's a lot of the times it's the faith organizations that are doing what they're supposed to be doing based upon their beliefs.
Yeah.
I wish the tone had been, I think they wish the tone had been a little more open to like input and here's how we'll address your concerns from the church. And I think the church was a little bit more, would probably welcome a little bit more if they had shown up and be like, great project, this is something we need, people in the community are doing this, how do we make it happen in a way where the entire neighborhood does not hate this idea? Because right now I'm an elected official for an entire district in this area of Chehalis. They're all opposed to it and I represent them, so how are we gonna meet their concerns? Like, I think if they had each come at it like that, maybe we're having the conversation a little bit differently, but regardless, yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
I see what you mean there. My counter to that would be if you live in Lewis County and you've seen local elected officials, starting with our county commissioners, 2 of them certainly, and their direct opposition to people doing this kind of work, would you take it before them and be like, hey, we've got a great plan? Like, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, they haven't created an environment where anybody that wants to help is like, well, we can just go to the county for help.
Yeah.
They've done the opposite. And instead, there's just a need that's not being filled. And so they have to be like, hey, we'll just try to, maybe, I don't know, but maybe they were like, hey, we'll just try to, you know what? We have the right to do this.
Yeah.
We're going to give the minimum notice and we're just going to go out and help people. Like, we're not going to deal with all the red tape and the county elected officials bullshit that goes with it. Like,
yeah,
we're just going to do it. We're just going to get straight to the point of actually helping people, which is admirable in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It is admirable. We'll have the news on the next meeting, and make sure you read up on what the Chehalis City Councilors have to say about it, and we'll follow it in the newsroom. I try not to offer a strong take on much of anything around here, except for the Zen tax. I'm still adamantly opposed to the Zen tax. Revoke it. If Bob Ferguson isn't a coward, he'll sign off on that. But on this, you know what? I appreciate you sharing your opinion. I know for a fact there's a lot of people that share this exact opinion, and I don't even know if you were to poll the people of Lewis County how it would end up based on just comments online. A lot of people are completely outraged that there would be any opposition at all, like a lot. And likewise, in the community, they think it's outrageous. I say community surrounding the church, that anybody would support it. Like the gap between the two it's a chasm.
It's the thing I keep coming back to is like, do you know how a parking lot works?
Yeah.
Like, there are other parking lots around, and the worst case scenario is you treat this parking lot like you would any other parking lot. You can just call the police if you see something untoward going on there, which is what you would do anyway.
Sure, and that would be one of the fears of the neighborhood. I don't think that like frequent police responses are something that they want, or reasons for having police responses are what they want. Mm-hmm. If I was in charge, and no one would be like this, but I would just say, you know what, let's just try it. Let's see what happens, because I kind of think 10 people who have been, or 10 cars that have been background checked that have all these requirements, I don't think it's going to have the footprint that a lot of people are imagining it's going to have, especially when it's rotating between churches. And there's the porta potties, there's all that. The one thing that I think might go a long way is if they could somehow figure out how to have some security there, or a person at least from the church overnight, because right now there's people to check them in and everything, but no one to make sure that the rules are being followed after that. That was one of the sticking points. And just solving that one thing, I think, would help a lot. But
I mean,
bottom line, I say just give it a go.
This also isn't out in the middle of nowhere. Like in town, presumably, I'm not 100% sure on how the Chehalis police operate, but I imagine there is somebody on patrol at some hours of the night. Mm-hmm. You just just drive by that parking lot once, twice.
But then the opponents would say you're straining the police force, Aaron.
Look, we've read the police reports. There's
advocate here. Commenter advocate.
Yes. We'll get to the big Chehalis police report I enjoyed in Science Breaker the Week in a few minutes. But anything else on The opinion page you wanted to get to?
There is actually. Hold on, let me pull it up here, and we'll just do the headlines, and I won't stick on them at all. Peter Barna has a op-ed that we'll have in Thursday's edition, but it's already up online because we're fast like that, honoring the duty and sacrifice of Washington's law enforcement officers. Julie McDonald, our columnist, who is not artificial intelligence, I swear, wrote an entire column about how AI is here to stay, and the debates ensue over ethics of using it. I'm told that you produced that entire segment on safe parking from ChatGPT, so you're kind of an expert in the field.
I did. I just typed in ChatGPT, tell me how to mock a fool. That's what it gave me.
Our agricultural columnist, Maureen Harcum.
Oh, what's she up to?
Oh, want to live in the country? Don't complain about country living.
You know what? I don't need to read the column. I agree.
It's a neighborly dispute that I was completely unaware of. Connie Riker and her daughters have like a facility for riding horses. Bring in underprivileged. She put it in quotes, underprivileged to learn to ride horses, things like that. And apparently, a neighbor bought some property there and has just, in Maureen's words, made their lives a living hell, just mad over things that happen in the country. It's the first time I've ever had a column about a neighbor dispute that I didn't know about. It's an interesting read. Maureen has takes on it, and I thought it was good. There's the John McCroskey thing that you already mentioned.
Oh, did I? Handful
of letters. Why we're feeding our communities. Why are we being published? Commentary out of Skamania County from an independent grocer down there. And this person made a really good case, I thought. Just there's a new fee that will be that will go toward independent grocery stores as part of the tax increases, but the big box stores were able to get themselves out of it, presumably through lobbying or movements of some way.
Damn lobbyists.
And so now they're asking, add them to the long line that I am standing in with my Zens firmly attached of people asking Bob Ferguson to veto stuff. That's like the big news hanging over the Capitol these days. You probably feel it, don't you? The weight of Bob Ferguson's decisions.
I feel, you and Ma and Pa shop owner clutching hands, predator style, just doing a help us, Bob Ferguson, you're our only hope.
I just imagine that at some point Governor Ferguson's going to be looking at his list of cuts and he's going to come across the name of Eric VanTuyl and strike it aggressively.
I regret to inform you he does not have such power.
I know. I could still dream, though.
Right.
And then we did have the commentary from our guest from last week, Chris Judd. Lewis County Imagination Library is safe because the community never let up. Chris reached out about maybe doing some outdoors writing very early. We haven't discussed it yet,
I think he enjoys hunting, going out and shooting shit.
He's a bit of a writer as well. So
yeah, he'd be great.
I'm interested in that. Maybe you'll hear more from that later. That's about it. There's more stuff, but you can find it.
All right, People's Champion of the Week. I've got Centralia College's 2025 Legacy Award honoree who once opened for Elvis Presley. This is Dawn Rich.
I hadn't heard of him before. I'm a little embarrassed.
I haven't. I imagine my brother probably has. I regret to inform you, Dawn Rich did not appear in the film A Complete Unknown.
No.
That's
too bad.
I don't think he did anyway.
He passed away young. It's in the story. I don't have it in front of me, but...
Yes.
He opened for Elvis Presley, and then he enrolled at Centralia College. That was the order of that.
He was like...
As is the order of all successes.
He was like, well, time to take it to the big stage.
Time to go big time. I didn't know Elvis was touring in the Pacific Northwest in the late 50s.
1957 in Tacoma?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the King, apparently.
I know when his birthday is.
Is it your birthday?
It is my birthday, and I know that he died because it's my parents' anniversary.
Well, I'll say happy birthday to 2 kings on that day. 3 kings, actually. There's Steve
VanTuyl
in there as well.
Do you know what Elvis's middle name is?
Aaron. Elvis Aaron Presley.
Yeah, I know. Some say I'm really the king.
I just said that.
Yeah, but Rich was part of the Buck Owens television projects. He performed on the Buck Owens Ranch show.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He did all kinds of cool stuff.
I'm sure we had other worthy applicants.
He died at the age of 32 in 1974.
All right.
Wow. Joe Dolezal quoted in the story, calling him an exceptional talent. So, yeah, that's a pretty good one. And, a lot of people say whenever Elvis played a good show, just blow the roof off that bad boy.
Oh, no.
And if your roof is to blow off that bad boy, who would you call?
I would call the roof doctor.
Your mic's cutting out.
I would
Jiggle
call
the
it
hand.
the
There you
roof
go.
doctor.
Yeah.
Technical issues.
You had to
Very
jiggle the wire.
unprofessional. Literally, it's a wire jiggle.
It literally
We
is,
should
yeah.
have the roof doctor come do an estimate.
He'd probably be like, have you considered solar?
He would come over to look at the microphone and turn one look up above and be like, holy shit.
Fellas, I got bad news.
This is unsafe. He just writes you a note. You have 6 months to live.
TheRoofDoctor.com. The roof doctor asks, is your roof under the weather? And of course, in this office, he would say yes. They await your house call. You always get a free estimate when the roof doctor comes to visit. You can give them a call at 360-736-0246 or 360-669-2099. Great service, great work. They're a great sponsor. And Siren's Banger of the Week. Headline. Man arrested after grabbing genitals. And, buddy, I got to ask you.
I knew that was going to be it.
I read this headline and was like, his own genitals?
It was not.
Brother, it was not. And then I read a 44-year-old Chehalis fan, and I was like, do I know this guy? But his name is not included. He was arrested for fourth-degree assault after he allegedly grabbed a man by the genitals and accused him of sexual misconduct. On May 2nd, the suspect was reportedly intoxicated and not wearing a shirt at the time of the incident. And my mind immediately went to, who is this? which one of my boys is out there on the streets? Sounds like, you know what? Just guys being dudes, if you ask me.
The guy, yeah. I when I was writing that into Science, I didn't want the entire Science headline to be like, man arrested for grabbing another man's genitals, because I thought that might set off like an entire comment problem as far as like same-sex marriage or something, because you can never predict where the commenters are going to go. I felt like man arrested after grabbing genitals just kind of gives you a peek into the crime, and if you're really interested in that, you can click on it.
Yeah.
That's my excuse for that headline.
I'm sure a lot of people did. Chehalis Outfitters.
Yeah, I was gonna. Why not double down on Dolly Day? Because Chehalis Outfitters is part of that. The festivities begin at noon and run to 2 p.m. on Saturday, May 17th. Chehalis Outfitters is celebrating the Imagination Library, helping raise money for it. They're going to host KMNT 104.3 Country for a live broadcast and a special radio pledge drive. So make sure from noon to 2 p.m. Saturday, May 17th, you're tuned in to KMNT. Give some money. If you're not able to make the Chehalis Outfitters event, you can head on over to the Juice Box later. Look at the United Way of Lewis County's website for more results, because this is a Chehalis Outfitters piece.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. The Rose edition of the Ruger LCP Max, $539. That's a deal.
Yeah. This is you're still looking at the Mother's Day deal, right?
I am, yeah.
I think we've talked about that gun 3 weeks in a row now.
Every day is Mother's Day, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's a new sale coming out tomorrow.
Do you have a hot advance on the deals?
I don't. See, I tried to go down and look at the pages, but the deals at Chehalis Outfitters, when they come out with these new sales, the first that'll start tomorrow, are so lucrative that the ad department does not give the newsroom access to the actual files. They put a placeholder there until it's ready to go for press, and then Brian Watson brings in the briefcase, opens it up, plugs it in for the files.
He puts on his oven mitts to pick up those deals that are so hot.
Yes, you have to. I mean,
call the
if you
fire
don't
department.
wanna go to
These
the burn
deals.
unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have all those new ads. Pick up a copy of the Thursday edition, or just go over to the Chehalis Outfitters Facebook page, or better yet, just stop in the store and ask for Kelly.
Yes.
Tell him the news dump sent you, and then she'll show you the special deal. Please don't do that. No one do that.
All right. Facebook comments of the week. I've only got one on here. It's on Centralia's senior night softball photos, which were reshared by the Chronicle.
Yes.
This commenter writes, congratulations, seniors. The Chronicle continues to highlight the Bearcats for senior night. Sad how that didn't happen for Centralia in any sport. Thanks for your unbiased support of all athletes.
I don't know, man. I like to say that it doesn't bother me. I'm doing this 20 years and the criticism doesn't bother me, but it does sometimes. That when I saw that, I was like, oh, man. Does anyone celebrate a Centralia victory in anything more than this local man?
Every time Centralia beats WF West in something, you will message me because 90% of the time lay out the sports pages, and you'll be like, "You son of a bitch! If Centralia doesn't lead this edition of the sports pages, I'll murder your family."
That's literally what I say. The issue was, it was an unfortunate series of events. We do want equal coverage, but we also are like one of the few newspapers of our size that we're completely open to community submitted things. There's a student photographer, Gracie Murphy, over at WF West High School, who went and shot 3 senior nights for WF West. Did a great job. It wasn't something we asked for. It was just sent in and like, hey, here's photos if you want to use them. And for me, it's like when I get that for any school, I don't care if it's PL, Tumwater, Pack, like
I like
White
how you
Pass.
mentioned PL first, as if they're like
I
less
went PL
than.
to Tumwater. So I was looking at the fringes of the coverage area. That's why I also threw in White Pass. No, but if we get photos from them, we're going to run them. It's just, it helps us maximize our efforts. We have a staff. Our sports staff covered those senior night games one way or the other, whether it was a phone call or we're at the game, but they're more focused on the game itself and the outcome.
Yeah, I was going to get into that a little bit. Like, we don't traditionally, generally, coverage is not determined by whether or not it's senior night. Senior nights generally fall on the same, 2-game series at the end of the regular season for everybody. If you wanted to go cover everybody's senior night, it would be impossible because most of them happen, kind of simultaneously. So in this instance, it was Centralia was playing Black Hills in softball the same night that WFS was playing Aberdeen in softball. And as it turned out, WFS and Aberdeen is a more interesting game, basically. WFS wound up finally beating Aberdeen.
Based on the stakes, yeah.
Yeah, based on, neither of the games really had anything as far as stakes are concerned. Centralia lost 14-0 and WFS beat Aberdeen. So in terms of covering something you would want to go on the front page, the sports guys made the correct call and covered a Chehalis team finally beating Aberdeen. Never mind that Aberdeen didn't throw their D1 pitcher. That doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter for a headline. But what I'm getting at is coverage isn't determined by it isn't determined by something that doesn't happen on the field unless it's like when Chehalis dedicated their baseball stadium. You want to get photos of something like that. But for senior night, to try to cover all of them, if you go cover one and you make the whole story about senior night and all the photos about senior night, then you kind of feel obligated to do the same thing.
And you should.
Yeah. And if you set that bar, you're going to be trying to hit 14 senior nights, 16 senior nights in a 2-day span. It's just not it's
that kind of effort kind of reserved for graduation season in the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah. We hit every graduation. That is something we will do. You won't hear a complaint, I don't think, of you didn't cover my school for graduation. We cover all of them.
Yeah.
That's our news staff. So we have 4 full-time reporters, 2 photographers. We flex with an intern. Everybody gets in on that. Our news staff is 2 gentlemen downstairs, so having them get to 18 senior nights.
Sports staff.
Yeah, sports staff, sorry.
Right.
Sports staff is 2 gentlemen downstairs. That's not feasible. I mean, there's just no way we could do it physically as a newsroom.
And also, you consider senior night, for example, spring sports, baseball, softball, track. You got golf teams, you've got soccer teams, you've got tennis teams. There's a lot out there, and every one of those 18 schools has 4 or 5, 6 of those teams. Just do the math. That's a shitload of senior nights. Yeah,
to the Commoners' credit, they're coming from the right place. They want to see their school represented. When you see 3 WF West in a row, and maybe a kid that was for Centralia fast pitch baseball or something else senior night, and you didn't get the same coverage, and you don't really understand that you can also turn it in. After those comments, I threw a Chronicle comment on there that was just we'll run any photos from anyone that shoots these games, just send them to me. And I got a lot from Centralia. I think it was from a parent of one of the players who was a senior. Great photos. We ran them. It was wonderful. So some of it I do need to take blame for is maybe the community just doesn't know that we'll do that and doesn't know that's how it works. And I know a lot of people assume when the Chronicle posts some photos, maybe they just assume that's something we paid our staff to do, even though it says otherwise. So if you're in the crossover, in the Venn diagram of this conversation that are affected by it and a News Dump listener, spread the word that we will take your photos. Just send them to news@cronline.com with a little bit of basic information. Some names never hurt. And we will throw that right into the publishing churn.
Yeah, and I say this with no due respect. You will post anything to Facebook. If somebody sends
you're not
you.
wrong. Not literally anything. You'd be surprised what comes through from the Russian bots on the Submit News page. You wouldn't be surprised. You've probably seen it before. It's horrifying. There's not that. But yeah, if it's a community thing, we do our little reader's lens. It might not make the paper. Like none of those Bearcat photos, another thing, the senior night photos didn't make it into the paper. It was too full of our own coverage. But yeah, if you send me something interesting, a local landscape, local animal, something cool you saw, we'll probably run it. If you send us a cloud that looks kind of like a tornado, we'll probably run that.
Yeah, probably.
Try and think of the things. If you see an albino squirrel and you're in Mossy Rock, we'll probably run a picture of that.
And also, just to go back to sports coverage and to toot the horn a little bit, like, don't complain about the sports coverage. The sports section for Tuesday had 11 pages of local sports content.
I know, but when you get
just
that
for
kind
a
of
random
coverage,
weekend,
though,
it's not even the playoffs. Like,
but imagine you get real invested in that as a reader, and 3 editions in a row you've seen WF West on the front page. I get where the frustration comes from.
Yeah.
I understand it, and they're engaged. When I'm at my butt hurtness, my hurt feelings are just we throw ourselves pretty hard at this stuff. I know I do, and like those photos, they rolled in on a Saturday afternoon. I take a break, playing soccer with the kids, post the photos. You don't expect to come back and be like, oh, everybody's mad.
Yeah.
Like, I thought you'd like these. I'm sorry. So, send your senior night photos, your homecoming photos. That's another example. We don't shoot those. But, as Aaron said, pretty much a picture of anything. If it's interesting, we'll run it.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to do any more news rounding up, or we're already at the 1 hour mark?
Let's wrap it up. Go to Cronline if you really care.
Yeah, all right. We're sponsored by Summit Funding, Chehalis Outfitters, and the Roof Doctor, which has all your Mother's Day guns. You know, it's never too early to start planning for next year.
No, there's not. Like, with the tariffs and everything, I mean, my guns are all American-made if I had them. But, get yourself a
leave us
a piece.
Leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts if you want. I think Spotify does reviews now, too. I haven't updated this boilerplate closing in years. Or send us an email at Chronicle News
One
Dump.
more thing.
What?
Guests. We're on a roll here. We've had 3 guests. Like, if you have something coming up and you want to come on the show, the bar is lower than you can possibly imagine. If we don't have a guest already, you have something of local interest to talk about, and you're not too weird, we will have you on the podcast.
I should tell you this off mic, but we have had a few others that I just haven't gotten around to. Yeah. I will try to get them on.
That's like promising the winner of a News Dump contest a free subscription and never getting back to them, Aaron.
Yeah, kind of rude. All right, send us an email at chroniclenewsdump@gmail.com. I promise I will start responding.
If you want to CC news at Cronline to make sure I see it, you can do that too. I don't see the other Gmail.
All right, thanks for listening.
Hard, yeah, but she came harder. Pulled my heart.